Hello, spooky upside down people. As I act,
It's almost spooky season.
it's pretty damn close to spooky season. And I was thinking about it and I was scrolling on Facebook and I said, fuck it. I'm going to bring one of my Facebook friends, Jonathan Hogue, who has been really killing it in the New York theater space and has a off-Broadway musical that just wrapped up called Stranger Things. It's a parody of Stranger Things. If you're wondering, did I screw that up in your interview? You're right. You've been listening for a while. You know those tongue twisters get me.
True fans know.
Real ones know. But anyway, so yeah, I had my friend Jonathan Hogue on the podcast. We've been Facebook friends for a while, and I just thought this would be different than anything we've done before. And I thought it'd be perfect for spooky season, and it worked out because he also has the soundtrack for Stranger Things dropping as you're listening to this. So you can listen to this interview.
It's out.
And then you can
go listen
to the soundtrack to your heart's content. It is fantastic. I listened to the whole thing. It is so good. So anyway, I'm Beth Ann.
And I'm Leah.
And this is She Will Rock You. Where are they getting a dub in a CBS executive meeting?
No. Bitch, don't touch my thermostat.
The ghost be like, hold up, before I haunt you, let me turn down the thermostat. Who is this man?
We're on page 1, guys. This is She Will Rock You.
Okay, so we are here with Jonathan Hogue. A really unique episode this time, if you couldn't tell by the title of it, and we're interviewing someone in the theater space. So how are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm great. I'm happy it's fall, sort of.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Muggy up here, but it's technically fall, so.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not 90 degrees, so therefore it is fall.
It's
True.
not 90 degrees. I'm still running my air conditioner, but it's not 90, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm actually heading up to New York next week, back up to the Hudson Valley, and it's not like that miserably cold like it usually starts getting around this time.
Oh no, yeah, we're not even in like the 50s yet. Like we're I think evenings are getting to like mid 60s, but even still, it's like some nights I'm like, I'm a little warm. So
yeah, I mean, I'll take
Sounds
it for what
perfect
it's
to
worth
me.
until the snow starts flying and everyone starts complaining.
yeah, no kidding, no kidding.
Well, first I have to say two things, among many, for bringing you on the show. Is first to promote this really awesome musical that you created, but also for selfish reasons, because I've always wanted to interview someone from the New York theater scene. So thank you for coming on and indulging my selfishness.
I am happy to be here. This is awesome.
Awesome. Well, first off, tell me how you got your start in theater. Was playwright always the goal?
No, actually. I started as an actor, and that was sort of what I thought theater was. It's just acting. You're either acting or tech, and that's it, And I didn't really have any interest in tech theater. So, but as I was kind of finishing my undergrad, I started realizing like I love performing, but I'm really interested in like the creation of theater, And so that was kind of like directing. I loved playwriting. I was reading a ton of different like new works coming out of New York, just whatever scripts I could find. And when I moved to New York, I was sort of like, maybe arts administration is kind of what I want to do. Not really ever wanting to like say I'm a writer, because then I have to write stuff,
Right, right.
But what's funny is when I started writing this show, Stranger Things, I sort of did it just like with no pressure on me to have it be anything. I knew what I wanted it to be, which was basically a concert production at this venue here in New York that's sort of well established. It was going to be like a fun kind of Halloween season show, and but then I also like ended up caring so much about it that I wanted it to like really be good, and so I put all into it that I think I had anticipated. But yeah, I mean, I literally did it because I just wanted to, and not really because I was like, oh, I need to write something to be a writer in New York,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've kind of stumbled into this. And then, since doing this, I've sort of had the realized how much I love it and had the confidence to be like, yeah, let's keep working on new stuff. So So yeah, that's kind of, I'm sort of falling into this. And then I'm also in grad school for producing theater management. So I sort of do, the creation of theater and the like making it happen side. Like those are like two parts of my brain that I love kind of bringing together. So like with the show I did this summer with Stranger Things, I was producing and writing, which sometimes was one too many hats, but yeah, so that's kind of the world. So.
I love that. And I love that, Stranger Things became your muse. And I have to say, I watched the first season of Stranger Things and I stopped at the finale episode. And I just was kind of like, I'm done. But the beautiful thing about theater is it was like, oh, why did no one explain it to me this way through music?
How did you stop at the finale?
I don't know. I lost interest.
I'm offended.
You knew this. I told the story.
I thought you hadn't
upside
watched
down
it.
Tree for
I know.
Christmas.
I thought you and Josh hadn't watched it.
No.
Josh, coworker Josh.
Yeah, no, I watched it. But like something about music, because you were kind enough to let us listen in advance, really helps explain it more. And so that's fantastic. So I know you just mentioned, you just finished a 5-week off-Broadway debut. Is that correct?
5 weeks. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, we August 5th to September 5th, just limited run. So
that's awesome. And you had awesome shout outs from BroadwayWorld.com, otherwise known as every 2000 high school theater kids website browser.
Yep.
At least it was for me. I can imagine like being off Broadway was like a real surreal experience.
Yeah, completely. And the crazy thing about it too is that we'd been working on trying to get this produced for like 2 to 3 years. And we were really pushing. And then the pandemic hit and we were sort of like, maybe we're done. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
But I had submitted the show to this one theater down in kind of near NYU area in the Village. And they literally 8 months later, I sent it to them August 2020. They emailed me April 2021 and said, hey, we love the show. We'd love to talk to you about it. And I was like, who are these people? I forgot I sent this thing. And I was just sending the script out wherever, because at this point I was like, throwing spaghetti at the wall so it sticks. I was just like, what is left for the show? I don't know. And so it was just so funny because literally it was like, we were in hibernation and all of a sudden I get back to the city May 2021 and they're like, theater's yours for August. And we were like, oh gosh, like we have so much to do. So it really when opening night came, it was sort of like a very strange, surreal experience because we were so in it and so like everything was just on like red alert and constantly like, doing 25 things at once that like when opening night came, we were like, this is what we wanted for 3 years. Like now it's happening. And it's sort of just like, it's happening so fast and there's so much going on that it was like hard to take in. So now I'm starting to like really appreciate all of the amazing parts of this journey.
That's crazy.
How much did you have to pull together in those like 3 months?
I mean, everything. And we had the script.
Jeez.
We had to raise money. We had to, get all the contracts set with our investors. We had to hire lighting designer, set designer, costume designer, had to cast most of the actors. We had a couple actors that were kind of holdovers from the last production, but then the rest were all new. So we had to work with the casting director and do auditions. We had to, create all of our merch. I was running social media marketing with another person. So we had to like come up with all this content, do photo shoots. We had to hire a PR person to help us get all this press. I mean, literally, it was just like so many things that like, usually you have teams of people that do all these different things, but because we were sort of like new and young and scrappy, we were doing all of it. And, and we felt it. It was definitely very hard to do all of it, but yeah, I mean, that was kind of my entire summer was just like every second I had, I was doing something for the show, and it was really exhilarating, but exhausting. So
I am having secondhand anxiety for you just listening to, and it's already done, but I still feel the anxiety.
Oh, I feel it too. I mean, we'll talk about the album, but I still am like, it doesn't feel like it ended on September 5th. So. Right.
Yeah. So about that album, this soundtrack, first off, holy shit, these songs are so good and so well written.
Amazing.
Like I said, I feel like I knew the plot through the songs. Not like I'm a critic of theater professionally, but like I feel like that's a great indicator of great songs if you can actually follow the plot through them. So walk me through a little bit of like compiling these songs. Was it just you at first with like a piano or guitar? Did you have a team around you?
None of those things.
Okay.
I actually am not a songwriter, or I wasn't a songwriter. I can't play piano to save my life. I grew up doing theater, so I knew like how to read sheet music. I played trumpet when I was in like middle school, so I like understand the notes in the bars, you know. But
Sure.
but I didn't know anything about chords. I didn't know anything about any of that. What I did have was just like a gross amount of musical theater inventory in my brain to pull from, and because it's parody, so much of what I wrote is inspired by stuff that I love. Not to say I stole melody lines, but you know, there's a number of songs that are like a reference to this show or a callback to this show, or taking this melody line from this show and changing the lyrics a little bit, you know. So that was like a good place to start. And I think like a lot of the beginning process was just kind of letting myself be inspired as things came randomly. Like I would have, you know, I had one line from the very first number that was stranger things have never happened here. Like I had that. And I was like, all right, that's something. So I like recorded that into my iPhone. And then like a week later, I'm like playing with that melody line and I'm like adding something else to the front of that. And I'm like, okay, that's that. And then you kind of like, as things would pop into my brain, I would just record it really quick. And then eventually those pieces would either come into the same song or I'd be like, no, that's a different song. And then eventually just kind of like found themselves, into this full song that I would record on my iPhone. The other part of it too was I sort of had a framework for like knowing what characters had what songs in what parts of the show.
Sure.
So like there were some that were easy. Like I knew Joyce needed to have a big number with her Christmas lights and needed to be sort of like musical theater diva, kind of classic musical theater style. So I like made a little playlist on Spotify to like listen through different things that kind of like got me in that headspace for that. And then, you know, I had like there's a song with Nancy and Jonathan that sort of got like a little bit of like Sunglasses at Night kind of vibe, but then it like transitions into stuff from like Xanadu. So it kind of plays with two different styles there. And so, yeah, so it was like finding what the stylings were for each character, because, you know, yes, I'm playing with 80s music, but I'm also playing with musical theater, contemporary and classic. So I pulled from a couple of shows that are like really relevant now that were really fun. And then some that are like, oh, everyone knows that. So yeah, but it was kind of like figuring out like what the world was for each character. And then from there, I sort of built out as things came in my brain. And then from there, I ended up hiring an orchestrator to really flesh out the sheet music on paper and add, you know, instruments under it. That stuff I didn't know how to do. But the melody lines and all of that was just me into my iPhone for months.
I love it though. I love it. Especially the one where it's like a Disney. It's the When You Wish Upon a Star. And the chord structure is just like, you literally put it in a parallel universe. It's perfect. And it prevents, you know, Disney coming after you. So it's foolproof.
Oh, yeah. You always change it just a little bit. So
just
that one's fun because it's, you know, like a lot of parody is just playing with the irony of things, you know?
Yeah.
So for that song, this is Where There's a Will in the show, where Will is stuck in the Upside Down. I love the idea of he's in this like horrible, dark place, but like he's choosing to sing from like Cinderella, basically, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and there's actually like there's multiple versions of Cinderella that he references in the song. And I'm just like, it's sort of one of those things that I don't think people will really catch when they're first hearing it, but just sort of playing with the irony of like Disney Cinderella in the Upside Down. Like those are two very different things that are kind of hilarious together. So
I think the ruling is as long as you have 6 chords, according to the Katy Perry lawsuit, as long as you have 6 chords that are not the same, you're fine. So
great.
You're good to go.
Love that.
Okay, so the soundtrack is launching this Friday. I'm really curious because I saw you post on Facebook the photos of you and your cast recording. And because I'm a little bit of the audio nerd on this podcast, how did those logistics work? for getting that all compiled? Like, did it take like you recorded everything in like 2 or 3 days? I'm just curious.
Yeah, we got our entire cast on a train out of the city, headed out to Jersey to Sound on Sound Studios, which is a really cool studio that has a big enough recording space so we could get all of the actors in one space. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the ones in New York City are not big enough to have 9 singers in one space and a band. So we ended up going out there. It was really, really awesome. We had a album engineer or album producer who was kind of doing the mixing, a lot of the work. His name's Jakob Reinhardt. He sort of was like the visionary on a lot of that side of things. But then, it was me and my orchestrator and then some of the producers in the recording studio kind of like listening to each take and saying, all right, we like this. Like, let's hear this moment again. Let's get this again. But we recorded it all in one day, which was kind of insane.
That's insane.
We did 3 or 4, sometimes 5 takes of a song and then move on to the next person. So it was I think 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. or something nuts. But we did it all in one day. And then the second day, I think our orchestrator came in with 2 band members and they got some extra little pieces and stuff that they added later. But the vocals we did all in one day, which was pretty great. Well,
that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very fun.
We often, on the podcast, because we do cover more rock history, sometimes we find out artists recorded it in a week or 10 days and we're like, whoa. But to do it in a day is just insane.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean I think traditionally, Broadway albums, you do a couple of days, but because we only had such a short window of time and, with COVID, and it was just easier to just do it all in one day and try to get everyone in. So, yeah, it worked out. Makes
sense. Now, do you guys have any other plans for Stranger Things after this album drops?
Yeah, I mean, we're really happy with the production we just had. I think our hope is to be able to bring it back to New York at some point, maybe next summer is what we're thinking, spring, summer, just to kind of really establish ourselves as an open-ended production that people can just, we had a limited contract at the Players Theater where we were this past summer, which was wonderful, but, we couldn't extend even though we really wanted to. And so we're hoping that we'll have a production where people can, come see it and it just runs and runs and runs as long as people buy tickets. So that's the hope. And then, the album being out is a really awesome opportunity for us to get to share this with people outside of the city. Because I know a lot of people, especially Stranger Things fans, we've been using TikTok and getting comments from people when are you coming to, Australia? When are you coming to London? When are you coming to Canada? And we're like, never, but maybe not never. I don't know. I can't say that, but this is cool. We get to share this with the world, which is a weird sentence to say, but so I'm excited about that. And I just I think part of my dream with this show was always to just get to share this with people that love the show as much as I do, Stranger Things. And just because I'm a nerd and I love getting to share my nerddom with people who love it as well. So we'll see where the album goes, hoping people find it and it takes off. And then in the future, would love to see it, get licensed out and theaters around the country get to do it, or we have a tour or something like that.
Absolutely. So coming to a high school theater program after your Broadway run, of course. After that, you can take over the Mamma Mia Theater, because I'm sure, ABBA's not going to be using it anytime soon with their tour. And you can, license it out from there.
There we go. That's the game plan.
Well, before I turn it over to Leah, because we do have some fun lightning round questions, where can people find out more about Stranger Things? Me and my tongue twisters. The album, you and your writing. Just give me all the plugs.
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you haven't seen Stranger Things, or if you've only seen the whole season and not the finale, it's on Netflix.
Fair.
There's 3 seasons.
Harsh, but fair.
The third season's my favorite.
Yes.
I'm hoping the 4th season's out soon because it's been a while. So definitely watch that. It's really great. So we are at www.strangersingsthemusical.com. We're also on Instagram at Stranger Sings Musical and on TikTok at Stranger Sings Musical. We're also on Facebook if you want to follow Stranger Sings, the Parody Musical. And yeah, and then our album is going to be available on all streaming platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, wherever you stream your music, that's where it's going to be. If you do purchase the album on Apple Music or on iTunes, it does come with a really fun digital booklet that's got all the lyrics printed out. It's got photos from the show. I have a little writer's note in there, so worth the purchase. But yeah, we will be everywhere soon. So, now. So
If you're listening to this, go find it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, lightning round time.
All right.
Clearly you love Stranger Things, but what is your favorite TV show of all time?
Oh, The Office, I think.
That's a good choice.
It's a very millennial answer.
It's a really hard thing to say. 'Cause I don't know what favorite means, but I will say The Office for a fast answer.
It is an interesting question. What is your dream theater role?
Oh, there's a show called Parade. It's not a very often produced show, but the lead in that show is one of my favorite roles, so I would love to play that someday.
Interesting choice. What did you last listen to on Spotify?
I don't know. I think you know what I listened to was the Moulin Rouge Broadway cast album, because I went
nice.
to the I was at the last night. I was actually at the taping for the Tony Awards performance for that. So that was the thing. So I was like refreshing myself on the music for that. So that was kind of fun. But
That is a lot of fun.
Super cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then finally, our question that we ask all of our guests on our show: if you were a cereal, what would you be and why?
Oh, a cereal.
It's a telling question. It's a tricky one.
No pressure.
I don't know why Reese's Puffs are coming to my brain. Maybe because my roommate just bought them. I don't like that answer because that makes me feel like I'm like gonna kill you in 3 years if you eat too much of me.
The literal least healthiest cereal to exist.
I don't know who I am as a cereal. It's so hard. I'll say Cheerios because I'm classic.
Your heart healthy.
Honey Nut Cheerios. How about that? It's like
And you got a little twist of honey.
There we go. I'll take that.
Everyone always tries to give such a healthy answer to this question. It's really funny.
As if I'm a healthy person. I love getting to present myself as someone who eats healthy.
When Leah and I first posed this question, we realized we chose the same specific cereal, and it was the Captain Crunch Christmas blend.
Both of us chose that.
Both of us chose it.
Captain Crunch is a good pick. I would what's the berry one?
The Oops All Berries.
Yeah, but there's some that has like the little yellow in it too.
There's the regular Crunch Berries, and there's the All Berries.
The Crunch Berry one's great, so.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Jonathan, thank you so much for being on the episode tonight. It has been so great having you.
Thanks for having me. This has been great.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you enjoyed the show. Special thanks to Death of Fawn for our intro riff. You can visit our website at shiorockyou.com. There you can find links to our socials, the show notes, and you can reach out to us and contact us. And remember, don't do drugs.
Bad ever happens in small towns.